All right, family. Thank you for your patience. For some reason, when I start late, sometimes I seem to start at exactly 9:11, Doc. But I gotta ask King Sabbath about 911. This is like the
Yeah,
third time I started at 9:11 on the dot.
very cool.
But listen, family, we got a good one for you tonight. As you can see, about to bring my guest on. He needs no announcement. But before I go there, a couple of things. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you tell your friends and family we are now live. And let me get to this quick commercial. We'll be right back, family. Right back.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning feeling stressed. Sometimes I wake up feeling like I never slept. Sometimes I don't want to wake up cause I'm depressed. But today when I woke up I felt blessed. Yes, I'm thankful I could breathe. Thankful for the breath, thankful for the heart beating in my chest. Superman S, I fell in love with life, not afraid of death. Fell in love with life, fell in love with sex. Sinner, I confess, I love my gold, melanated flesh. It absorbs, it protects like a bulletproof vest. I kill all my demons and then I ask who's next. I'm the son of Osiris, I'm coming for the suit test. Suplex, God is blood, God is great. I'm thankful for the food on my plate. I just ate mashed potatoes and steak. Victory is sweet, come get a taste. The flavor in your air is Big Mac with the base. Been broke, can't break, got money in the bank. Every day someone dies, someone's born. Get a cake, set a date, get a suit, get a tie, get a date. God is always on time, never late. Celebrate, get in shape, meditate, levitate, elevate. Men destroy, men create, real women menstruate. And the sound I make emanates my light. And the song I sing celebrates my life. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Everything was dark, God invented light. Everybody celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Accepted all my wrongs, celebrate the right. When I die, celebrate my death, see what heaven's got. I feel glorious, victorious. The medal dangle on my...
All right, all right.
I'm loving that. Who's that?
That's my artist Cambada.
Wow, I'm
Yeah.
loving that.
Yeah, I did the beat, Doc. I did that beat for that one. And he did
that's you. Oh man.
yeah, you like that one. Yeah, it's very
I'm over here rocking. I don't rock to that. I'm over here not. My head is doing this.
Oh, that means a lot. That means a lot. A legend like yourself.
Hey, really, really nice. Really nice.
We want to bring back that good vibe music with a good vibe and a message at the same time.
It is. That's what's missing. The message.
Yeah, indeed.
We're too busy, ranking and talking all kind of nonsense and who shot who and who hates who. That wasn't music back in the day. It's supposed to uplift, not depressed.
Well, it's good to have you back on here, Doc.
Good to be back, beloved.
I think this is the first time this year, right? Because you was on in December.
Yeah. But it won't be the last time.
Doc, right. how January went by that fast, Doc? Come on, man. That had to be a record breaker. That had to be. Oh, Doc. It was like 12 days. January felt like 13 days, Doc. Come on,
man. Like, January had some jetpacks on its ass, and it just took off and went, man. I'm looking at the 30. I'm saying this is 31st. It was just the first. Woo! Incredible. I said, well, you know what? It's cool because during that time, I got a lot of feedback from the last webinar, and a lot of people had missed it, especially from overseas.
Yeah.
So, during that first part, I said, you know what? I talked to wifey, and she said, go ahead and do it, because she's not well, and I'm focusing most of my time and everything with her. Mm-hmm. So, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll put it on again. And so on the 18th of next month, I'm already in February. On the 18th at 2 p.m., I'm going to rebroadcast Aristocracy of Evil. And this, of course, contained all of the mysteries. This contained everything that everybody was asking questions about that the news won't give you, that your priest and your minister won't give you, that your rabbi won't give you. All of it is contained in this particular, because I had to do that because I don't know what the rest of this year is going to be about. Okay, Divinity, thank you, sweetheart. But I'm telling you, you're going to see the secret behind who it is that's running this entire scheme that we see getting ready to run down. They're going to be closing down banks. They're going to be closing down institutions. A lot of your colleges are going to go under. Schools are going to under. There's going to be chaos. You watch how things are going to start taking up. You think this thing at the border is just kicking up? Nah, it's getting ready to get real ugly. And a lot of people in the blue states are going to have to start worrying, especially up around where you are. I'd say start getting your water and your food, whatever weaponry, whatever's necessary, because it ain't going to be pretty within the next 3 months, 4 months too. Because remember, you're getting into this, we're getting ready to go into the election cycle.
Right.
And it ain't looking good for people, for Americans. They want to shut down the country. They're getting ready to try to shut down the country, and be ready for electronic blackouts, slowing down of your webs, your phones, emergencies. You're going to start seeing a lot of this. Oh, thank you, beloved. I'm glad that you were there. We're going to get ready to do this one again because it's time. I mean, they really coming after the Black youth now. This is a war was declared on Black American youth, as well as those who are essentially conscious. The conscious community is coming under fire. You watch.
Well, I'm thankful that I love your approach, being a metaphysical teacher and being well versed in what's going on in this world. Not only can we learn about what's going on behind the scenes, but you also provide solutions. You've helped us with health for so many years, Juice Plus, as well as many other things. You've helped us with spirituality. A very, very well-rounded soul you are, Dr. Phil Valentine. Indeed. So I guess I want to start with saying that, Doc, you having this webinar. And one of the main reasons why you have these webinars, if you're a listener of this show, my channel probably has been suspended about 2 or 3 times, because of certain information from Dr. Phil Valentine. I got suspended once when Rod Hayes talked about them folks in the Middle East. They gave my channel a strike for that, suspended me for 7 days. So considering, you know how to move strategic, Doc.
Yeah.
You know about metaphysics, and you also know about the parasitic elite, as you call them.
Right.
My question to you would be, are you afraid for your life? In terms of when you think about a Malcolm X, when you think about some of our greats, are you afraid as far as, being killed by the so-called parasitic elites? Or do you think that because of your metaphysical knowledge, because your ability to tap into certain frequencies, certain vibrations, do you think that that's not able to happen to you because you're not resonating on a certain level of violence like that? What's your thoughts on that, Doc?
That's a very good question, beloved. When you start resonating to a level that's outside of the purview of those conducting their orchestra of wickedness,
yes,
you're operating on a whole other level, that if the Great Spirit calls you back, it's actually for you to be repositioned and recommissioned someplace else, because that's where you're mostly needed. I felt I was mostly needed here, which is why I was recommissioned back to the United States from the West Indies, for instance, which is why you were recommissioned and were told to take up the gauntlet and get into the media because of what you had to accomplish. I've been threatened. My life has been threatened numerous times for what I did, especially when I exposed the AIDS hoax. That was, that they came after me with the feds. They came after me with even my own people came after me. And it was like, should I be worried now? Because my family, when your family is saying to you, oh, Dad, I'm worried about you and so forth, then you start getting a little bit more cautious.
right.
And you start saying, okay, well, where my priorities lie. Well, I told my children and I told my wife and my wives at the time that um, I'm not going to pull back the momentum of my mission because this shell was threatened. A lot of what I've done has been placed on tapes and on discs, on cassettes. That's how far back I go. And everything that I've said resonates towards upliftment. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people may not see it or may not feel it at the time, but everything I have attempted to do from my heart was to uplift. So
Mm-hmm.
if I am going to be taken out by me doing what I enjoy and what I feel to be a righteous mission, then only a coward would even step into this. That's why I was telling a lot of the brothers and sisters back in the day when they wanted to take this particular platform and start playing like it's some kind of game to be a money making scheme when you want to, you want to debate this and debate that, and you're having rivals against so and so, and it was turning the platform hostile against the very people that we wanted to actually benefit from it.
Right.
So, I said to everybody, I said, listen, this is a self-destructive way of taking something that the ancestors handed down to us and our elders handed down to us, and you are polluting it. You are undermining it, just like they undermined hip hop. And they started bringing in all this gang stuff and so forth. That they undermined something that was supposed to be joyous, uplifting. So people like yourselves, people like Bobby and Dr. Blair, and all of the young brothers and sisters who are out there working towards upliftment, their lives are in danger too. So why should I, who actually helped put these young people on, what would it look like for me to back off and say that I got to retire at a time when I would be needed, just like my elders? I needed my elders around before they left, but they left me such a treasure. They
Right.
left me Midas's intellectual treasure, not the gold, but the intellectual treasure, almost like a Midas,
Mm-hmm.
uh, wealth. And I can't do anything different. If my life is taken doing what my joy, then I'm going to be smiling and laughing as I leave the body. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to be afraid. I'm not
Beautiful.
going to be crying.
Beautiful.
You know.
Well, let's get a little bit of OG advice from you, Doc, to the younger brothers out there. Do you feel as though your wife, for all the brothers out there, do you feel as though your wife takes away some of the warrior spirit in you? And is that a good or a bad thing? Is that for the betterment of you?
Well, that's a
Or,
woman.
yeah.
That's your woman. She tapers and tempers your energy. She gives you a chance. When they talk about Sophia, the word
Mm-hmm.
Sophia is gravitates to the word wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So what a woman does by her questioning your actions
Mm-hmm.
is causing you to mine the wisdom for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
When they ask why you're doing this, do you know that you have these particular things that you, as the master, as the leader, as the head of the household, these are your other responsibilities. They're also to us. Have you
Mm-hmm.
taken that into consideration? And so I
Mm-hmm.
would say to her, beloved, when you joined me on this mission and on this path, did you know what the circumstances and consequences could be?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, my wife had to get to that because she's very feminine, I turned her into this warrior energy,
Right.
because I could not get a swear word out of her mouth.
Oh man.
She doesn't swear, she doesn't do all of this. I mean, she's like super feminine. And in
Mm-hmm.
that super femininity, it calmed my beast.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think twice about my other responsibilities, but I had to tell them I cannot be who I am not, or who I, not, and my double negative. I'm saying you cannot make me not be me, because I'm going to simmer. I'll be very hard to live with. You see, and you don't want me in a cantankerous, argumentative mood consistently when I could channel that into my book. I could channel that into problem solving for my people. And that's the beauty. You are a spark. You are that platform that allows people like myself and all the other brothers that you had at the beginning of the show with that incredible opening. All of them are, there's too many of us warriors. When one goes down, two is going to take its place.
Indeed.
So why should I worry about this shell? I have over 300 videos circling the planet right now. 300. And I have them coming from different parts of the world that I didn't even know existed. What is that worth? If I had to do it all over again, beloved, I better ask me, would you do it again? Yep, damn sure would be. But where do I start? I'm down.
Indeed. Wow. It's interesting, Doc. You mentioned some of the speakers that I had in the beginning, the brothers. You mentioned the brothers and the warriors in the beginning.
Right.
If I look at all the brothers that's in the beginning, and this is very interesting, including yourself. Doc is a musician. Dr. Phil Valentine is a musician.
Right.
Brother Rich is a musician, music producer. Dr. B. Sirius is a musician, music producer. Red and Blue Pill are musicians, poets, rappers, etc., etc.
Right.
Seven Beaumont is a musician, music producer.
There you go.
Who else I had on there? Pretty much what I'm trying to say. I was just talking to a brother named Yaki yesterday. He was telling me how his first passion before getting into this music, before getting into this information was music. He was a rapper.
Right.
Pretty much everybody I know that's in this information, first love was music.
Right.
And they sacrificed music to get into this information. And this is going to lead me somewhere, Doc.
Yeah.
Michi Akaku. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Michio Kaku.
Yes. So he talks on the internet about string theory. And he said when he talks about string theory, the universe is composed of these tiny little strings, what we call, I think, the electrons, or I hope I'm getting the name right. But they're really tiny little strings, like a guitar string, vibrating musical notes.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how the music is this cosmic symphony. Now I'm thinking about him talking about the music is the universe, and you talked about this before, being a cosmic symphony. And I'm thinking about everybody I know conscious, first love was music. Talk to me about string theory, music, and how we just naturally gravitate to be music artists. Because, it's very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, what they speak about is the fact that the string theory is that vibrational tones start out, let me just go back to the mind of the creator emanates outward.
Yes.
And that emanation is what we call the will, the universal will. As the will is, further from source, it begins to slow down and attenuate, and what is willed becomes manifest. That manifestation happens in the form of what they call strings. This is quantum physics actually trying to take musical notes and the flow of the waves of life, and then attenuating it into these fibers, these etheric fibers that they call the strings from the string. And remember, it's a theory. It's not actually something that is real. What they're trying to do is deal with metaphysics and put it into their own language so that they can actually own that particular scenario about what creation and what life really is. It's not what they think it is. It is a movement in the way that divine will, manifests itself through the individual components that constitute the one thing manifesting as the many. So the manifestation of the many happens along strings of consciousness where you are conscious at the level of consciousness based upon what the will or how you react, how your spark reacts to divine will. So divine will with you, for example, would have a certain resonance towards something that you feel you must accomplish. And that essentially was a contract or something that your spark was based in happening. And everything is nothing more than experience. Everything boils down to experience. I don't care if it's murder, if it's suicide, whatever it is that you choose to do with your avatar and what you do with the consciousness that motivates that avatar is temporal, and it is essentially choice, and it is nothing more than an experience. It boils down to that. What we do while we're in the avatar is to elaborate upon our own individual and collective perception of what those strings are, individual strings are doing within us. And some of us resonate to certain strings where we collaborate and we become tribes, we become nations, we become man and wife, and so forth. And these have to do with the way that these strings, and what we call strings, but what I call them are divine intentions. These intentions are essentially what exists to manifest themselves so that the experience may become the feedback mechanism for the creator. So when they start talking about string theory, these quantum physicists essentially look at life as it's manifesting itself towards an effect. They never go back to cause. They just tell you, well, Big Bang. All right, so if nothing existed, where did everything come from? So they say nothing was there, and all of a sudden, boom, everything was there. Nothing or something cannot come out of nothing. Everything pre-existed. And that's why they can't figure out what the so-called aspect of universal intelligence and God really is. Cosmic and so-called what do you call it? Science, the quantum science is only dealing with what it can see. It never goes back to a creative source. They block any reference to an intelligent source. Everything just comes out of nowhere. And that way they want to be the God that essentially is the one that dictates what reality is. But we already have that encoded in us if we just stop getting caught up in all the beautiful colors and every little thing we look under the microscope and see. Everything has to be conquered. Everything must be known in the physical. But they don't understand it. All they have to do is to be still and know that I am. They don't know.
Indeed. You know who Terrence Howard is, right?
I love Terrence Howard. Me and him going to have to get together one day.
Man, if you ever talk to the brother, please tell the brother. There's a brother named Brother Rich who want him on the show.
No doubt.
I need to get. But the brother, he for the last couple of years, 5-6 years, he's been going around the universities to the scientists, and he's been dealing with physics, and he's been saying how
the flower of life.
Yeah, he's been dealing with the flower of life, and he's been dealing with this mathematical equation where he's telling everybody about 1 times. It's impossible for 1 times 1 to equals 1 because to multiply means to be that's outside. So how can, if you're multiplying something, how can something stay the same if you're multiplying on something? So he's saying it's impossible. It's a mathematical lie to say 1 times 1 equals 1. What's your thoughts on him saying that the system that we have? Because everybody say the universe is mathematics. But if the universe is mathematics, but if our mathematics is based on lies and we base our numerology and everything else on our mathematics, you got to talk to me, Doc.
It's not mathematics. It's not mathematics. It's mathematics to them, but to us, it's Maat hermetics.
Okay.
It's not mathematics. Mathematics is a kind of twisted perception of Maat hermetics. Maat is balance. It is the finding the equilibrium between 2 forces. Hermetics is the secret behind that force. So I changed the whole dynamic for my students. It's not mathematics. It's Maat hermetics.
Maat hermetics.
And when you're dealing with numerological aspects of the creator, then you're dealing in the illusory aspect of the one. It is the one in the dream of itself. And the one is in my book, I have the dream of chaos. I think it's the dream of chaos is order. The nightmare of order is chaos. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
The dream of chaos is order. The nightmare of order is chaos. So it's the same thing. We believe that one thing can become many because we are in that particular societal framework, or what we call consciousness framework, where we live in duality. We live on third density, height, depth, length, width, and so forth. And that becomes an external part of our brain. Our brain is actually locking all that we see into the order that you see here today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually an illusion that the brain creates in order for it to exist in the particular envelope of consciousness that we presently occupy.
Mm-hmm.
So once we leave the body, there is no such construction around that particular phase of our existence. So when you're dealing with mathematics, you're dealing with the way that the conscious intelligence that expresses itself begins to enumerate. Number has nothing to do with what we see as the multiplication, division, or subtraction, or addition of things. Numbers are consciousness, specific consciousness,
Mm.
and numbers have a specific place within the numerical existence that we're dealing with, which is 1 to 9. There are no other numbers than 9. There are only
Mm-hmm.
9 numbers. Anything after 9 is a kind of extraction process from the invisible into the visible. So you see, when they talk with the number 1, it starts with 0 first and then 1. But then you go all the way to 9, and then the 0 succeeds the 1. Where it
Right.
precedes the 1, it succeeds the 1, which means it's the same. So what you're dealing with on the first levels of condensation, because there's no such thing as creation. That's a misnomer.
Is
Because as
subtraction.
you said, exactly, nothing goes outside of the creator. There's nothing outside of the creator.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is within the creator. So the 1 to 9 is a subtraction or a retraction process.
Mm-hmm.
That's that 1/10 that they talk about that we exist in, that the brain exists in.
Mm-hmm.
So mathematics can go on to infinity. And when you're looking at infinity, that's where mathematics come in. But when you're dealing with life and consciousness, then you're dealing with eternity. So
Indeed.
one is masculine, the eternity, and one is feminine, infinity.
Mm-hmm.
So infinity is a numerical progression that goes on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Eternity is within the sphere. It's the sphere within which this particular mathematical process for existence exists.
Mm-hmm. I asked this question to Billy once, and I want to get your answer. I asked it to Billy Carson. I want to get your answer because you just talked about the brain creating this illusionary realm that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And so if the brain is creating this illusionary realm that I'm experiencing, and my eyes are it's the only part of the brain that we can see. It's an extension of the brain.
Mhm.
My question to you would be, once the spirit leaves this body, I don't have the brain and I don't have the eyes no more. How can I view, let's say my son, let's say my woman, if they were only part of that avatar experience with the brain and the eyes? My
Beautiful.
brain created them. I don't have the brain no more. How can I observe them without that part of the avatar?
Residual ectoplasmic material.
What does that mean, Doc? What does that mean? Come on, break this down. This is getting good. Come on, Doc. This is getting good.
Everything that exists has an auric field.
Yes.
And that auric field is your template, your physiology, and so forth. And depending on how strongly or how intensely you are connected to the physical, a specific template of that, an auric field of of can be seen of you. In other words, the eyes of the innocent can see you even after you've left the body, because there's an ectoplasmic image of you that it eventually dissipates, of course, much like you see in the morning, you see dew, but after a while, when the sun comes up, it then dissipates. But your strong intention, for instance, when you pass away, you are seeing the sadness of the people who are lamenting your passing. Your intention, but from the physical memory that you've had of the aura, is there saying, I don't want to hurt these people. I want to let them know I'm still here. I'm good. And so your intention to stay, little children have seen. I saw my grandmother when she passed. I was at night, I was sleeping. I had to go to the bathroom. I got up and I went to the bathroom and the door wouldn't open. So I'm looking at the door, and then there was a little crack in the door, because the house was, old house, and there's a little crack, and then you could peek in there to see if anybody's in there. I saw my grandmother sitting on the toilet, and I said, "Oh wow, grandma's on the toilet," and I'm over here, beating her. Oh, and I went over to my mother. I felt in the thing, went to my mother and father's room, and I went to my mother. I said, Mom, I got to go to the bathroom. And she said, I got to go. She said, oh, well, go ahead. I said, well, grandma's in there. Ooh. And she said, what? Grandma's in there? Ooh. I said, yeah, grandma. She's got the door locked. Grandma's in there. She went over there and opened the door where I couldn't open the door. The light was on. When she went over there, the light was off.
Wow.
A month later, we found out that she was in a coma and passed. And she had come before she made that transition to see me, because I was somebody. She used to call me Pip. She used to take the end of my name, Phil, Philip. She shrunk all the rest of them and called me Pip. When I went to Trinidad with my mother to see her, she was the matriarch. And of course, she had 15 children. There must have been 80 of cousins. We were running all around the house. Right. And she was having dementia. And when I went there, and I'm running around with my cousins, acting the fool. I must have been about 13 or 14. And everybody would go up to her while she was sitting there. And of course, one of my aunts was there to whisper in her ear, "Here's, this is who it is. This is Felix. This is Vince. This is Teddy. This is so forth." And my mother came up to me after in the yard. We was rumping and so forth. She said, "Come on, you have to come and say hello to Nana now." So I went up to see it. My sister went up there first, and she went and hugged her. And my grandmother never moved. She just looked straight ahead. That's all she did. But when I came up to her and I went up there and I said, "Hey, Nana," and she said, and my mother said, "Mama, it's Pip." All of a sudden, she said, "Pip?" And the whole room stopped. And I'm lying. I'm not lying. The whole room stopped and looked, because she never talked. And she said, "Philip Pip Pip?" And I said, "Yeah." And I thought it was a big deal, because she used to always call me that. And I said, "Hey, Nana, how you doing? Everything is well, how you doing?" And she's saying, "You being a good boy, blah, blah, blah." "Yes." I'm saying, "Yeah, Nana." She said, "Come give me a kiss." And I used to love her, because when I was a little boy, she had these humongous boobs that I used to just nestle and just go to sleep on. After I left and said my hellos, she went right back into it. That's my story. And I know it happened. My sister can bear it out. My mother, bless her soul, she went for the afterlife as well. But I know what it was. I know what happened, and I know what I saw that night when I tried to get into the bathroom and I could not open that door. The light was on, and I saw my grandmother sitting there on the toilet with her hands in her, what do you call it? And that was me. I said, no, there's definitely the soul can send itself to different places. And people have already claimed that right before someone has passed, or right when they did pass, they saw or heard from, or they saw their people, and they were talking directly to them. That's your ectoplasmic residual consciousness. And if it's strong enough and your will is strong enough, People who have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the heart to feel will see you.
Man, see, this is why I tell y'all, this is why I tell y'all when this brother does seminars, if y'all see what he's saying on this show, and my show is only about an hour, could you imagine what this man says in 10 hours in a 10-hour workshop? Y'all see how I just throw questions out to him and he knocks them down? I'm like a pitcher and I'm throwing the ball. I'm throwing him 90 miles an hour and Doc just knocks it out the park. There's not many like this on planet Earth. While this man is still, listen to this, family, and I'm being serious. While this man is still on planet Earth, make sure you support him. Make sure you attend this brother's workshop. And take notes. Bring a pen. You see, I got a pen and you see, I'm writing. I'm not bullshit here, y'all. I'm writing things down. Take notes. Sign up to this workshop. The info is in the description of this video. I posted it in the chat. I'm gonna post it again when I ask this brother the next question. But y'all see what's going on. Y'all see this show tonight? Y'all think this brother gonna be playing at this workshop? This brother ain't gonna be playing. This is stuff that can't even make it to YouTube.
No, it won't.
So this brother ain't gonna be playing. Shout out to Doc. Shout out to everybody who signed up to the first one, and I'm looking forward to this one. What day is it again, Doc?
It's going to be the 18th of February, and it starts at 2 p.m. It's going to go on for 11 and a half hours.
Whew. Shit.
Yeah, and be prepared, because the who, what, when, where, and why that you see on that flyer is going to be exposed. The way that Cat Williams is exposing everybody today.
Yeah.
And the courage it takes. Look at his life was almost taken a number of times. And look at the fact that Oprah is putting a hit out on him. Look at all of the people who are now crying the Moody Blues because this man is kept righteous, didn't bend over for anybody. And now because they are calling him all kind of names and doing all the things that they did to undermine people, all of the people that you had all loved and everybody that you thought was the kings and they did all the, nah, it ain't like that. And so the people that are up in the political spheres, in the churches, in the mosques, and in all these places who are pretending, all of them who are pretending to help humanity, they're not. They're all for themselves. And the banking industry, everything that's getting ready to happen, make sure you know what you're going to do with your money. All of this is going to be discussed in that webinar.
Let me ask you this, Doc, since we're talking about Hollywood. Hollywood, these people in Hollywood. Oprah, you name Oprah. When I think of Oprah, I automatically think of Harvey Weinstein. They're like connected to me. Oh, and what I want to ask you, and I want to tie Hollywood with your metaphysical studies, and I love doing that because people could understand it better because they can relate to Hollywood. They've seen it their whole life on television. Right. So we have Hollywood, and we have these people that are notorious for lying, Doc. They get on camera and they lie to us about who they are, about Hollywood, about everything. They just lie. So my question to you would be, being a metaphysician, yourself and many others on my platform, talk about the power of the imagination. My question would be, Doc, are liars more tapped in to their imagination than truth tellers? Because truth tellers observe, you talk about the cause and effect, truth tellers observe the physical to come up with a conclusion. Liars tapping into some shit that ain't happened. They make it up. They just create some shit on the spot. This could have happened. I could have went left. They'll say, oh, I went right this way. That they'll just make some shit up. My question, are liars, and we're seeing these liars be successful in terms of finances. So, Doc, are liars more tapped in this into this imagination than people who observe the physical to tell the truth, Doc?
Well, let's not say that they're more tapped into the invisible. Let's just call them more cunning.
Cunning, wow.
Cunning.
Interesting.
Why they study human nature.
Yes.
And they take advantage of the vulnerabilities of the human spirit, the human heart, as well as the human passions and all the types of what would I call it? Let's just say that they have weaknesses and addictions. And if you were to read some of the old materials, you would see that that what they did was they elevated human weakness to a science.
Yes.
And what they did was they knew how people would react. That's what psychology is about, or psychiatry is about, not psychology. Psychology is the study of how people think and what motivates thinking. Psychiatry is controlling thinking, you see.
Yes.
So psychiatry
That's
is
deep.
not
That's
a
deep.
real science.
Okay.
It's a means of control. So liars, as you're saying, liars are not tapped into anything but what their own selfish way of utilizing free will. Liars understand that free will can give you anything that you put out there because every human is a creator. They understand that. So if you're a creator, you can create any reality you want and then put it out there like a merchant. Sale. And that's what they do. It's called, one of the sciences that we teach is called synthetic synchronicity. This is the most sophisticated form of lying because they set the modem, they set the direction for the lie. They give you the substance necessary to support the lie. And it's even to a point where we call it predictive programming, where I can tell you this is what's going on. And then because you believe just that first point, I can then set up a synchronistic pattern where every time you look for evidence of whether I'm right or wrong, the pattern has already been set in place to substantiate what I said as a lie in the beginning. So in that synchronistic format, you're going to fall into every piece of evidence, and that's how they play you on the news. The news is synthetic synchronicity.
Synthetic synchronicity.
That's what I call it.
Love it.
It's an artificial way of getting you to marginalize your attention, your perception, and your consciousness towards an end that they already have predicted, that they already set in place. It's the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. So a liar is not anyone that is tapping into any real spirit. They have to be more imaginative because they have to compound all the necessary materials that go to substantiate their lies. But they have to keep jumping from one foot to the other because a lie always lies on the liar. And they will always lie on the liar and then tell the truth because the lie that the liar puts out there comes up against the universal truth. And who gonna win then? So liars have to do it. But then when you lie long enough, like this society and this European's paradigm, when you lie long enough and the people begin to see that the lie is beginning to become threadbare and falling apart like a cheap sweater, that lie cannot exist. Just like evil cannot exist. It cannot exist very long. It begins to wane. It begins to eat on itself like a cancer. A lie is like a cancer. It begins to eat on itself. And all they do, people who are liars, good ones, is they keep patching up the holes, keep patching up all the bruises that lie has created. And so you have people who lie, like you see the government right now. Everything is everything is falling down now. You can't lie to anybody anymore. I've never lied to the people because I know what a lie does. It comes back on the liar. Look at what the lies have done that Cat came out. Cat is just simply the person who opened up the door and pulled the curtain aside.
Indeed.
The liars, they convicted and indicted themselves. You see, so if the judge says to the bailiff, "Could you read the charges?" Who's the one who did it? Who put the charges? Who caused the bailiff to have to read the charges before the judge? The liar. And the liar going to end up coming before the judge pretty soon. I'm not talking about no Jesus Christ. I'm talking about himself.
Doc, if these people take a little bit, they take the truth and they bend it and they twist it to hurt us and to our disadvantage,
Right?
should we take the truth, bend it and twist it to our advantage? They take the truth and they, you know, they may take the concept of the law of attraction and they're bended and twisted and put a white man in front of it and they say, if you pray to this man, then you'll get what you want. Yeah, you could get what you want, but you don't have to pray to that white man. Should we do the same, but to benefit our people?
No, you get no, you can't use the tactics of the evil one,
Okay, okay.
because what that will do is just bring the evil in to substantiate what you're doing, because you're using that power as your means to broadcast or to forward your message. No,
Indeed.
let your message be pure.
Yes.
Let your message be clear, because that will cut through all the bullshit that they tried to do to cover their own asses. It's not going to work. And you have to remove yourself from the truth and try to over substantiate it. The truth doesn't need that much help.
Right.
You don't need to actually sit the truth up and then get your guns out and start shooting at everything that you believe is wrong. The truth will stand for itself. They say the truth crushed to earth shall always rise. So when you remove yourself from the consequences of evil, when you remove yourself and know that everything balances itself in the end and that you're in the middle of the crucible that's going to bring the truth to light, all you say is, I just take 500 milligrams of fuck it all.
Woo! Fuck it all, Doc. Doc is raw. Yes, all right.
And then say, okay, I'll tell you what. You come to me and tell me what your immediate problem is, your individual problem is, because I do counseling that way. And I will tell you what it is that you have done to actually get in your own way.
Indeed.
You see.
Wow. So Doc, one thing also, and for the people asking in the chat, the link to the webinar is now pinned at the top of the chat. So it's in the description and it's pinned at the top of the chat. So I advise everybody, if you didn't make the first one, sign up to Doc's webinar. The brother just said it's going to be 11 and a half hours. The link to sign up is at the pinned at the top of this chat, family. Okay.
Indeed.
And so Doc, wonderful conversation we're having as always. I always have a wonderful conversation with you, my brother. Another
you're
thing
easy, you're easy to talk to, beloved. You're so easy to talk to. You have no idea.
Appreciate it, my brother. One thing I know a lot of us. You mentioned Cat Williams, and he talked about the Hollywood. He also talked about drugs in Hollywood briefly. One of the drugs that is very popular in this country is alcohol. Now, in the spiritual community, Doc, they say alcohol. Another name for alcohol is spirits. And when you drink alcohol and you get drunk, you could black out, and a spirit could take over your body, possess you. Yeah. My question to you, Doc, is one thing that a lot of people do once they drink and they have and they engage with alcohol, they have sex, Doc. So my question to you, Doc, is once a person gets drunk, say they get so drunk they black out. The lady he's with, she gets drunk, she's black out. They engage in sex, she gets pregnant. Now, is the child that is born, does it have the energy of the spirit that possessed that man? Wow. That child that is born, or is that child the spirit of the original host of that avatar?
That's the thing that happens with people who don't understand what, say, ayahuasca is, what the mushroom plant is, what alcohol or what they call the spirits really are. The spirits were actually to use to cleanse the environment, not to be drank. If you want a walk-in, if you're practicing, say, Consultations or one of those, and there is a particular spirit based upon a particular thought or action that the spirit represents, then what happens is your body, you have to diminish your consciousness for the spirit to enter into the body. You have to take yourself out of the equation. And that's why they say that a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. Ooh. So when you're dealing with the spirit from alcohol, you are removing yourself from the man, the sober man.
Mm-hmm.
and you're going into the truth teller,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the one who does not hold his tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And you get more information out that the person who would be more discreet, the sober man is more discreet with his words, he's more discreet with his actions. The drunk man is not. So that using the alcohol for that reason is the only reason, because then you have the people around him or her to protect that entity that comes in to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
Okay.
these people they took it and they used it. Now the European man needed the alcohol because the alcohol was the way that he was able to convert what they call iron, ferrous iron, into heme iron. And the alcohol was necessary. If you look at any of your movies in Hollywood,
They're drinking all
they're
day.
drinking constantly.
All
The
day.
reason for that is because they could not convert the iron in their body to process and conduct oxygen throughout the system without that alcohol changing or helping to change the change the ferrous iron into heme iron, which is iron that can now join with the hemoglobin to conduct oxygen throughout the system. The European need that. But because your melanin is dark, you didn't need that. And what happened was he gave that poison to the native peoples whose systems were so pure, all they had to do was take a damn sip and they were out. Whereas these Europeans could drink back and kick back and drink all kinds of it. But today, because we've now taken on their culture, we are just as crazy and as stupid as they are, because what it is we are not inviting the spirit that is there to actually help raise the tribe or to raise the community in that ritual, but to actually enjoy in taking in whatever spirit is around them at that time. And it could be some kind of demonic shit that people don't even know is there. That's why people end up killing people while they're drunk, while they're driving, they drink, they kill people. No, any of these, what they call psychotropics, were always used as a way. It was like a messenger service.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a way for you to get the mail from the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the people would then speak in these particular frames of mind. They would call them, they were possessed of the spirit, and they would call the spirit Gemaya, or they was called the spirit Obatala. They would call the spirit that was necessary during specific seasons were also called upon. Mm-hmm. So that during a specific season, they knew a particular resonance of the planet would be giving off certain information that certain people would be sensitive to, and then they would then filter that information in that state of mind so that the tribe may benefit from that knowledge.
Doc, what do you think about using alcohol for libation purposes to call on spirits? A lot of people, one of the more popular people who did it amongst our community was Bobby Hemmett. You take alcohol and in the hood, brothers do it all the time. Pour out a little liquor for so and so. We do. It's like it almost like we just do it without knowing what we're doing. So, what's your thoughts on that ritual that we do?
It's a muscle memory from our culture.
Yes,
we have in the mitochondria of our Black woman, who holds the library of all life on planet Earth or plain Earth. The information that filters through her is in the mitochondria. And the mitochondria becomes the receptor. It becomes the receptor to the akasha. Now, there are different ways that human experiences are logged into a library of consciousness. It's locked into the feminine principle on the material realm in the female mitochondria. But it's also locked into the waters above and the waters below. the memory of fish and their experiences with man, but the memory of man as an energy that you create in the form of templates of consciousness that essentially are like sigils. They're like memory patterns that are digitalized into a kind of hieroglyphics that you can tap into. So when they showed you when the Japanese, what is his name, or Moto, his name,
I know you're talking about. I
you know what I'm
forget.
talking about.
Yeah.
He showed that water has memory. So the first thing I thought about was water has memory. Then what is the akasha?
Mm.
If it's not the memory of all human thought and human actions, human passions, it's water.
Yes.
And it is actually holding on to all of the experiences of humanity. And that's what these bastards in the AI are tapping into, the Akashic records. That's why they can predict what's happening 10, 20 years from now, because all life is a cycle that revisits itself on different patterns of expression.
If water's memory, Doc, let's say you visit the North Pole or somewhere that has been frozen for such a long time, Doc. Let's say you take a chunk of ice from there, Doc, because they got all these water machines popping out that could take water from this, take water from that. Let's say you took a chunk of ice that was frozen for millions of years or something, and you filtered it out and you drunk it. Would you have access? Is that like accessing the Akashic records by doing that?
That's
Doc?
why the Japanese are so far ahead in their technology. Why?
Okay.
Because everybody was laughing at them when they were actually toting whole icebergs back to Japan.
What? They was doing that, Doc?
They was doing
Doc,
that.
get out of
I
here.
was
Come
telling
on.
people.
Doc,
I
well,
was-
hold on. You saying the Japanese, they was tugging whole
They would get a
icebergs.
ship. Yep.
They would get a
get
ship.
and they would explode, and they would take
Man, get
because
the
it
fuck
goes
out.
with so deep, and they would explode, and they would hook up and chain up icebergs, and then they would take these powerful ships and tote them back to Japan.
Yo, I'm glad I asked that. I did not know that. That's crazy. When was this? When was they doing this?
Oh, this was happening back in the 90s, man.
In the 90s, yeah?
In the 90s, brother.
Oh shit, damn, Doc. Yo, that wow. Oh, that's wild, Doc. Oh man, this is why I'm glad yo, if y'all don't sign up for this webinar, let me put this back on the screen. This brother knows this brother's like an encyclopedia. Oh man. Listen, y'all, it's going down, Doc. Tell them the date. Tell them the date of this webinar, Doc.
The date is the 18th of February.
Crazy, man. Wow.
And the 18th is on a Sunday. And if you can see my part where the 18th there is on a Sunday, and it's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what you need to do is to sign up. And if there's any problems, hopefully I can actually help you out. Listen, we're going to send out information on how to get into the webinar, because a lot of people are having problems entering the webinar. Not a lot, but a few. We didn't have a lot this time, but a few people are having problems because we put instructions on how best to visit and to participate. And you have to do it in that order to make sure you check every part. Once you have registered, make sure you check your spam or any other envelope, because if it's brand new to your particular web, then it most than likely the security of your webmaster may shove it right there to spam. So check everything once you've done it, and this should give you back an indication that you're registered, but they're not going to give you the link right now. The link will come maybe a day or on the day right before it starts. Why? Because it's security purposes. And if you give that link away and somebody else uses it, you can't give it away because it's specifically coded to your email. If you give it away, you will not be able to get in at the same time as somebody else using your link. So please read the instructions, because my wife and Sister Brittany, who are the people running the administrative end of the university and every other service we're dealing with here, they have set down specific instructions on how best to utilize. And the other thing is to download the Zoom app. Download the Zoom app so that you can actually, your computer will recognize the link much more quickly. Thanks for the time to tell everybody that. And of course, you see it: who, what, when, where, why, and the how. And we're talking about how and when, why, all of the different ways that they're coming at us. And we're going to deal with the origins of the deep state. I did an Aristocracy of Evil back in the early 90s over at the theater. What is that theater in Harlem? And
the National Black Theater.
National Black Theater, exactly.
Yeah.
National Black Theater. I did an Aristocracy of Evil there, and I was the first one to reveal how the Twin Towers were actually brought down, and that's another place where I did it, and it showed exactly what it is. And then later on, these Europeans came along to actually try to tell everybody what was happening, and I had already broke that particular code. So we had a lot of good vibes from the National Black Theater. I heard they're renovating, so hopefully when Mama's a lot better and her book comes out and she's doing better, maybe one day I'll take another trip to New York if it has not gone down the rat hole, and based upon everything that's getting ready to throw down.
Indeed. I got one more question for you, Doc. Wow, what a show, man. I mean, this was I love when I have shows and I'm so energetic. I'm more energetic leaving the show than I was starting the show, because we're trained, if we work for an hour, we're supposed to be tired because our body just exerted energy for an hour. But I just exerted energy, but I gained more energy than I exerted. So that's something else to be studied.
Divine reciprocity. Divine
reciprocity, indeed, Doc, indeed. Well, we're talking about science. We've talked about physics. We talked about so many things. We've talked about, manifestation and bringing things into existence, going from wave to particle. And one of the main ingredients, a lot of people come up on my channel and they may have rituals, they may have spells, they may have prayers, they may have all this. One of the secret ingredients, Doc, that I noticed, Doc, that is practically impossible to teach. Everything else you could teach, but this secret ingredient seems to be hard, and I want you to talk about it. Maybe if you give us a definition, we could tap more into it so we could apply it to everything that we get from the speakers such as yourself, and that secret ingredient is intention.
Yes.
You may say, drink this drink, and this is going to cure you, or wave this, and this is... Now, if a person's intention is right, this may cure a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about the secret ingredient of intention. That seems to be, people will get all the other stuff right, but tapping into the intention may be the most difficult part, but it's the most powerful part, Doc.
Yes, it is. Intention is the positive action of will. It's intention is focused will. So when you focus your will and you have an intent, the intent must have a picture, it must have a design, it must be something that you, through your emotional body, amplify with that emotional energy. Because emotional energy is the most important and most potent energy that is the cohesive element of creation.
Emotional energy.
The emotional body is exactly necessary for all things to come about. If you don't have the proper emotional body, some people are born without the necessary radiation of emotion, the emotional body, and that's what causes a atrophy of their sexual organs, which makes them either sterile or infertile. So everything has a particular residual resonating energy that comes from intention. You have divine intention, and then you have your corporeal intention, or what we call temporal intention. Now, your temporal intentions, which means that you're trying to motivate matter to bring something into a specific form.
Mm-hmm.
And your intention must be such that your attention
Mm-hmm.
to the quality of emotional energy going into the intention is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go in with a emotional energy of doubt, if you're going with an emotional energy of hatred,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to lock down the frontal lobe, and the only thing operating will be your what you call your reptilian brain. And you do need the reptilian energy because it's kundalini, but it can stop at the medulla oblongata and go no further into the frontal lobe where all the creative energy actually exudes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see a lot of the Dravidian masters used to have this circle, because
Right.
that was the portal for the energy that they would use through their focus and intention.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with your emotions and your intention, it must be focused on something so that the sigil or the template that's created by that intention
Mm-hmm.
gives instructions to the four elements: fire, air, water, and earth.
Mm-hmm.
So these are actually conscious as themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So fire, air knows only air, water knows only, so forth. But
Mm-hmm.
when your intentions creates the template, residual template that
Mm-hmm.
resonates outside your body, what you're doing is you are calling these four elements. You notice I said four elements, not five. There
Why?
are only four elements that constitute the WORD.
D.
That's what they mean.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
when you are focusing your intention, you are actually calling on these four elements that are conscious as themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and you're bringing them into your sphere of influence so that they become conscious of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
When these four elements become conscious of themselves, now they lock into you because you are conscious as yourself. And now you give substance to that consciousness that they have, because now you lock into a personal sphere of energy and influence that you are now radiating through the emotional body that is now primed as the
Mm-hmm.
source, as the gasoline, as the
Mm-hmm.
electromagnetic energy to forward your intentions into materialistic.
Pardon my language. This is some deep shit, Doc. Damn, he's a bad mother. Ooh, what an answer, Doc. God damn it, man. You still got it after all these years, Doc.
Hey,
Whoa.
I got stuff here that I don't even know I got.
Wow, you got, man, that's wow, man. That's, ooh, man. You, wow, powerful, man. Once again, family, before we get out here, make sure, I don't know, something got to be wrong with y'all if y'all don't want to sign up for this webinar with the information that this brother has in his mind. He's letting you know what's going on, simultaneously telling you what you have to do to counter what's going on. We see what happened in 2020. We've seen what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
Imagine what they got down the line. But you know what? It's okay, because there's people, the mainstream media, they didn't tell us about going to the sun and all the vitamin D. They didn't tell us about none of that. But I'm going to tell you who did. Dr. Phil Valentine, KT the Arts Degree, Yaki Awaken, brothers like that.
Yes.
You know, so it's wonderful to have a brother like this. Unfortunately, information like this is banned from YouTube,
Yes.
but it's okay. So there's other platforms. Invest in yourself, family. The link to sign up for this webinar is at the top of this chat. Is at the top of the chat, as well as if you're watching this later and not live, it's in the description. So if you enjoyed this live, I advise you to sign up. And boy, oh boy, this has been an absolutely, and I see the people saying, everybody's saying they signing up. I see people saying, yeah, definitely, yeah, sign up. I mean, this has been an absolutely magnificent conversation with this gentleman right here, one of the geniuses on planet Earth. Doc, before we get out of here, your last message, contact info for the people, Doc.
Thank you, beloved.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions, if you'd like to deal with the upcoming semester for metaphysical psychology, where we teach the methodologies that I just spoke of over a 3-month period. You can go to uksnow.org. I think my beloved brother already posted that. And you can sign up. We begin the next semester on the 23rd of March. So you have enough time to actually register. You can go in and read and check out what's going on. There are also testimonials to our metaphysical psychology courses. You could press the testimonial link and read what other people have achieved. And we have dealt with superstars from all different walks of life, as well as regular brothers and sisters who are dealing with their own lives. And also for you who know that the education system is the deducation system. The deducation system is warping our children, telling them that they're not male or female and so forth, and just destroying everything that we have put down for our children. If you want your children to get a good education that is based in their culture, check out ismhomeschool.org, ismhomeschool.org. And for those of you who wish to either become partners, who wish to actually get the Tower Garden so you can grow your own food in your own home, or you wish to get the Juice Plus that is powerful, that I personally take, and I think that you love it, you can talk to someone about it. Her name is Nanette Hill. This is my daughter-in-law. And you can text her at 404-543-3245. Once again, 404-543-3245. Text her first so that she can get back to you. Tell her that I referred you and you would like more information on either becoming a partner so that you could promote JP, or you want to get the Tower Garden or the 4 blends of the so-called, the 4 blend pattern of the Juice Plus. Other than that, the 800 for the exemptions, knowledge exemption information, and that would be 800-847-1291. That's 800-847-1291. Lastly, if you're having difficulty signing up, you can always tap into my email, which is Sunnu, SUNNU. That's S as in science, U, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, U, 777 at gmail.com. And in the subject box, put down in all caps, webinar. In that way, with the hundreds of different email I get, I can go right to your email and deal with whatever situation you have. Now, don't try to get in contact with me while I'm in the webinar, because I cannot answer you. Please. And people are trying to get at that particular time. Beautiful. Anyway, just make sure that when you are dealing, read all of the instructions that my wife and Brittany has placed for you to understand and enjoy the upcoming webinar so that there's no problems. All right. In that case, if anything else having to do with, consultations for health and the whole 9 yards, the 800 number, 847-1291, 800-847-1291 for whatever spectrum of services that we have. And once again, beloved brother, this is just, a smorgasbord. I enjoy this so much when we are dealing, when we're talking to the people and we're kind of hitting it back and forth and we're building. I love you, brother. Talk to me anytime. Call me anytime. I'm here.
Also, I seen Danny. Danny, you came on the show before during Q&A. She asked about questions. Doc will be on the show one more time before the webinar, and it's gonna be an exclusive Q&A with the people to get us ready for the webinar. Yes. So, Danny, I know you had a question, and I know some of the other people in the chat had questions. Keep your questions. We're gonna do a show specifically dedicated for Q&A right before the webinar to get everybody ready for the webinar. So stay tuned for that. We're not getting into it tonight, but stay tuned for that. You can ask a question right before the webinar when we do that Q&A show.
Solid.
And one last quick thing, Doc. One last quick thing. No, you ain't got to take no more than 60 seconds.
No,
some more OG. I'm just me actually talking to an OG. I heard you early in the conversation say you referenced Dr. Nalani, and you also said you was talking about back in the day, and you said when you had wives, plural. I'm just curious, what's your thoughts on, because you know, a big conversation happening with the black man is you know, polygamy versus having one wife. What's your thoughts on your experience, not what you read in history, but your experience about having multiple wives versus having one wife, and what might benefit us culturally right now in this present day and moment?
Well, the first thing you have to have are actual feminine women.
Right.
You can't have women that are masculine and want to contest your authority. And second of all, unless you are a master and you understand human nature and you're a good man at heart, a moral man, a decent man, a strong man, a man that has ethics and morality and is ready to raise children in an exclusive household, because man has always been polygamous. Males have always been polygamous. It was the Catholic Church that ended that, so that they stopped the ability for our people to procreate under a system that essentially was what kept the balance of all things, because females outpace us in the birth rate. Most people don't know that. And another thing that the feminists believe, you know, was the fact that I think it was during the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, there was a lot of deaths of young boys. Boys were dying off more than girls at birth, especially in the black community. Why? Well, they said, well, the feminists jumped in and said, because the female is superior and so forth. Bullshit. It takes a hell of a lot of energy to actually create a boy in your belly, sisters.
Wow.
Boy takes more materials, more nutrition, and what the boy does, because when the seed opens up the egg and starts the process, I always say there's no such thing as everybody starts out as a female. That too is bullshit. In my book, The Wounded Womb, yeah, I show that it's a lie.
But you don't have the phallus. You don't have your thing.
No, listen. The intention. They always tell you that the male is the one who determines gender, right? But people don't know why that is. There are two different vibrational energies that male carry on them. There's feelings and desire. This is the yin and the yang energy that flows through the body. Feelings and desires. Okay? Feelings are feminine, desire is masculine. If the male is now exuding and is absorbed in his desire energy, he has changed the vibrational spin of his sperm, and you got a boy. If you have a male that's in his feelings totally, he changes, and everybody say, well, that's all. Oh man, this is all schlock science. No, it isn't, because when I told everybody back in late 1984 that when the seed of the male goes through the zona pellucida and ends up in the center of the egg, there's an atomic explosion, and that opens the actual portal for the soul to start its process in. Everybody laughed at me and said, that's schlock science. No, now science found out that it's true. So what I'm saying to you is based on metaphysics, physics that's beyond the Europeans' perception and reality. So what happens is there's two different parts to this. Whatever it is that's within the male in that particular programming of the sperm, that the specific gender is already tabulated. Once that happens, there are two different forms for the male and the female. There is what is called the Wolffian duct, and there is something called the Gaffian follicle. If it's the charge in the sperm is dealing with the male, the first thing that happens is that the Wolffian duct is formed. So it begins to go down, and it keeps going down, and then it spreads, and then you have the testicles. But if it's a Gaffian follicle that's formed based upon the programming of the sperm, then the Gaffian follicle, the follicle starts like this, but then begins to separate into two sides, which will become the fallopian tubes and the uterus. So that only happens at the point where the zygote begins to make its formulation into whatever the consciousness charge of that sperm had placed into the process. So there is no female born, you're all born female and then you change to male. That's bullshit. That's the Europeans' way of thinking and talking. So when that happens, as you come in, I forgot what the original question is. I have to make sure you said that the question was what again? Bring me back.
I was asking about your experience between having one wife. Yeah.
Right. Well, you have to have a female, feminine women who actually love one another as sisters. That's the thing. If you don't have that, then you're going to have a problem. They have to be compatible, and they have to love you in such a way, and you have to provide them each with their own domicile. Each one of them has to have their own home, their own car, if they have their own, what do you call it? But again, today, no. Today, the women are not ready for this kind of energy, because the white woman has completely warped the black woman's mentality into believing that she is independent, that the black man does not have any power, so he does not have his control, or he does not have the authority over her. And she's actually, drank that Kool-Aid to believe that. They're coming back now. They're beginning to understand that they cannot be men. I always said to this is in my book as well. Women are not men and cannot do what men do. They can only imitate what they see men do. So you cannot be me. And every time you jump out of your space of peace and try to be me, then you bring an extra burden upon yourself. You become masculine, and then you trying to meld with a masculine man, you clash. Because those two energies are like magnets that you turn, and if they're equal poles, you notice they resist one another. Well, this is what they've done to us. They've flipped the magnetic and electric poles on women and made them believe and take on actions. And look at what they want to box. One woman wants to box Merriweather. She just got her behind knocked out by a guy that hardly, he's not even listed. And they're really told that they can do what men do. And a lot of them are now saying, I'm tired. I can't understand why it is that, they wanted us to do this. It's madness. Yeah, well, my body as a man was made to deal with stress, not yours. I have a denser muscle mass. I have larger lungs. I have the capability of thinking fast. When shit goes sideways, I get angry and stoic. When shit goes sideways for you, you start getting flipped out and start to cry. That is not what men do unless you've made them feminized. I can go through a whole lot of a litany of things that women have adopted that they drank the Kool-Aid, and really it's so sad how the older generation is teaching the younger generation how to fail. The older feminists are teaching the younger feminists, younger women, how to fail. And they're failing at relationships, and they're thinking that they can do as men do from the time they're 18. See, women are born with their value. When you're young and you're tight and your nipples are pointing straight up to the ceiling and everything about you is young and beautiful, yeah, Mother Nature gave that to you. But guess what? When you're getting into your 25, 29s, 30s, that's when Father Time takes it away. So what are you doing between that time? Feminism has told you need to get out and work. You need to get your career. You need to become a boss babe. You don't need no man. This is all the programming you've been given, sister. You don't even know how to be feminine. And just say the word submit. Oh my God, back up. submit. They call women who take care of homes and raise children slaves. You really believe that, white woman? And these are white women who are rich, who had rich husbands. Those are the ones that started the feminist movement. And your girl, what's her name? What's her name? The woman who started, the white woman who was CIA.
Sanger, Margaret.
Not Margaret Sanger. That's the
Gloria.
Steinem.
Glorious, yeah,
What
yeah.
she said at the end, she said she wished that she had actually, she was out of her mind, and that she wished she had just gone ahead and married a man and settled down and had children. That's what she said at the end. And look at how she's destroyed lives. Yes, I had a lot of problems trying to deal with more than one woman. But then when you have women that are actually all bringing resources to one place, when you have the children who know that they have more than one places to go for affection, people are taking care of them. Children know that they talk about it being a village that raises the child. Yeah. But today, there's this selfishness that women have taken on, which is essentially a masculine principle. Women are ones who share. They actually are communal in nature. You know, they want to bring happiness. They want to bring peace. They don't want peace. Women don't bring peace today. They go into what they call shit testing their boyfriends and husbands. Well, if I had died, is there one woman that you know that we would want to marry? And the man is over there shaking in his boots, seeing whether or not, if he doesn't have the right answer, that he's going to have to sleep on the couch, or he ain't going to get no kind of sex for the next month if he answers wrong. What kind of nonsense is that? And that's what women are doing today. They're stepped out of the place where it is that the Creator has set them down to be. And that is the one who exudes love, the one who brings the love chakra and the energy up in the male, who soothes his fevered brow. The man will do anything. A man will lay his life down for you if he loves you. You don't have those men today. They don't care about you. What the women are saying, oh, why are men not helping us anymore? Why? Because you said we could live without you, and you don't need to open the door. I can open the door myself, and all this kind of nonsense. And y'all are really believing that? No. Once you come back into the fold and want to raise a family like no other can. And you see, here's the other thing. I'm going to close with this. I don't want to ramble on too much because this is a whole other subject I could take a few hours on. Do you know that they did a study of over 100,000 households, and they found out that in single parent households, that children raised by a single parent who's a man fares better or just as well as children raised in a twin parental household, whereas children raised in a single parent household with a woman or female are more prone to suicide, dropping out of school, crime, the whole 9 yards. So even your maternal instinct needs that masculine principle in the home for the society, the community, the family to be stable. And you have kicked him out of the home. And we have actually made him superficial. The black man is superficial now. They took away his ability to have jobs. They say it's his fault when you have taken away all the abilities you've given to the little white children. White males have all these and white females have all these perks based upon what they inherited. Of course, the black man has to work twice as hard. So anyway, I'm
Hey, I see you went off, Doc. I mean,
ridiculous.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not angry with our sisters.
Yeah.
It's just I'm angry with the fact that they still are with everything that has shown itself to be in our society today, with our children, and with the fact that there are no men in the homes, and that women are out there by themselves and playing these games that this woman with the brick woman, what's the brick woman? What's her name?
Yeah. I forgot her name, but I know what you're talking
That
about.
is one wicked bitch. She hates men. She's gay. And you know that thing with the face? She was in a clinic. She wasn't in the hospital because she tried to do something with her face you know, the things that they put into the face.
Well, Botox.
Yeah, she was doing a self thing, and that blew up out of there, and she had to go to the clinic. One of the nurses that was in the clinic outed her on that, but she was using that to try to get over.
Yeah.
Anyway, all them people that were talking about, and this other people, all these simps, male simps that came out. I want to know what they were talking about. I hate simps.
Oh man.
All the guys, you know, where are your testicles and who's got them in their purse? You know, what woman have you handed your testicles over to? It's sickening to watch these simps who come in there to defend women who are doing the wrong thing. Listen, in my 70s, I could talk shit. I could talk about it because I can actually spot a simp or a cuck or somebody who is a white knight coming to the rescue of certain women who have been doing all the wickedness in the world. You need to really judge yourself and see what it is that you're doing. And now that oh baby, in my book I did this like 10, 15 years ago. I call it parasitic parenting. Now they're finding out that Tennessee just started a law that says that before you sign a birth certificate, you need to take a DNA test. The women went hog ass wild. Why should we have to take a DNA test? Don't you trust me? No, not today. Not today.
Doc, let me get you off this line, man. Doc, Doc said,
now,
oh,
you women
man.
know, I don't have to lie. Women know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. We know that.
Yeah.
No, not today. The only ones that are going crazy about that are the ones who are out there hoeing and scoring, got 30 and 40 bodies.
Whew. Doc unfiltered right now, y'all. Oh, man.
Sorry about that. Love my sisters, but I hate what they do sometimes.
Doc, I appreciate it.
I hate what the brothers do too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doc, I always appreciate your honesty. I always appreciate you coming on here, dropping the science and everything else, my brother. We're all looking forward to the webinar, and I will see you right before the webinar. We're going to do a Q&A with the people this time. Let them talk to you, ask questions. Until then, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Dr. Valentine, and I will see everybody next time, all right? Peace, family. Peace, Doc.
Peace out.
Yes, sir.